Welcome back to Wargaming World, to England 1643, and to another game of 1 hour Wargames. And so it's the second game in a mini campaign of 1 hour Wargames, and it follows on from the action, the 1643 action that I played previously with the previous video, which ended, although in a draw. I think it was to slight advantages to the Parliament force. So a quick reminder of the aim of that campaign is that we've got 2 guns here with the Royalist force, and the aim of the campaign is to get them pushed through this road, this area held by Parliament, over to the road on the other side there, and then off up north to action in Lancashire. Now in the campaign we've got 12 units aside, and we're going to play it over 3 games, 6 infantry and 6 cavalry. The Royalist forces lost 2 cavalry units in the last game, and Parliament lost 3. However, at the end of the game it was to some extent an advantage to Parliament, and therefore in this particular game I'm starting off with 3 Parliament units, and they have possession of the only way of making progress along the road. So to fit with the campaign, this game is a slight adaptation of scenario 11, which is a surprise attack. Now the idea here is that the Red Army, and you'll notice from the first video, at least my figures now will be the Red force. It was slightly confusing in the last one, but anyway, Red forces are holding a position and will be reinforced as the game progresses in turn 3 and then turn 9. Over here, which is the Blue Army, the whole force is on the table to start off with. Now for the campaign I said that we can have up to 8 units, and that's exactly what we've got in this army. As well as the 2 guns as well, so there's actually 10 units on the tabletop to start off with the Royalist force. But it may seem that it's too much of a one-way advantage, as it were. However, the only way of getting through is through this road and through this gap here, and what you might well see by the time we get to the third game is in actual fact that we've got a Parliament force on the right hand side of the table, and you can't get all of the Royalist units through quickly. So let's just see how the game progresses. These are the units for the Red Army already on the table for the Parliament. I'll refer them just as Parliament moving forward, and indeed this is the Royalist force. Let's start with turn 1. Okay, so turn 1 in the second game, and we'll start with the Royalist army, which is the Blue Army for this scenario, to draw the first card. So what do we get here? It's an ace, which means there's nothing. Right, so first of all, movement. So Royalist movement, I've moved the cavalry forward, and you'll see with them is Prince Rupert, so we do have a commander with this in this game. We didn't have it in the first one. I've also moved the infantry further forward. Now they can move and shoot. Remember, we'll need to roll to see if they run out of ammunition. But I've also got the 2 cannons. So I've got one just back here and one over on the other side, just before the cavalry. I want to fire with those as well. So I'm going to fire with those 2 and with this infantry, and I'm holding back the other 3 infantry units to see what impact it might make. So I'm firing at this unit with the cannon over here. So we -2. That's the with the blue. So 2 is the casualty. If it would have been 1 or 2 on the red dice, we'd have run out of ammunition. Second chance is at this unit with the other cannon. And we're -2, but that's 4. And this unit, I'm firing at the one that's just taken 4 as casualties. Right, okay, so that's another 6, so that takes it up to 10, and it doesn't run out of ammunition. So Parliament card, 9, and I know that's bad. I think it's demoralisation. Yes, it is. So single unit of the Parliament side takes 1 to 6 hits. I need to work out which one. I've got 3 units. It's 3, so actually it is the 1 in the middle. So 1, 2 was the furthest away. 3, 4 is this one. 5, 6 was over here, but it's the 1 with 10. Now if I get a 5 or 6, the unit's removed. It's a 2, so it's up to 12. Right, I've pulled this unit out of the line before I lose it. I might as well take it off the board ultimately and keep it in the campaign. I've moved this unit up to get to support the one in the middle. It's the only one that's going to hold the road. And it's going to do so by firing at this unit also. So it's the red dice that causes the casualties. Just the 1. Turn 2, and we start with a Royalist card, which is 10. Right, so that means initiative, and it means that a unit can do something twice over. Okay, so I've moved all the cavalry forward, started moving the cannon forward, I've moved all of the infantry further forward, and finally moved the cannon forward as well. Remembered that actually the infantry units will only go into combat if they've run out of ammunition. So therefore I'm going to have the units in the middle, so you can see 3 infantry units there. The one in the middle is going to fire twice, because that's when we said we could do something twice. And then the white and blue units as well are also going to fire at the same target. That's the one in the middle. Well, this unit has 2 against it, so remembering it's the blue dice for damage this time, with the blue army firing. What have we got there? So okay, so 3 and a 1 means that this unit right in front of me causes 3 for damage, but it runs out of ammunition. This one in the middle can fire twice, as long as it doesn't run out of ammunition. It's caused 1 and 2. It does run out of ammunition, so it can't do something twice, because shooting is after movement. I'll think about that. But so that's 6 in total for casualties. And the white one, that takes it up to 7. It doesn't run out of ammunition. Now I know it's out of sequence, but I'm going to say that this unit in the middle can move. It can move 6 inches. It's not into contact here, but it will do now that it's run out of ammunition, and after all it can have a second go. So this is where we finish as we turn to the Parliament force. Okay. Now to 5. Now what I know is that's confusion, and it means some units for the Parliament can't move. So that's 1 to 3 of the units. How many? 2 units. So I'll say the one that's retreating, the unit that's retreating is 5 and 6. So 3 means that the one that can move is this one that is actually advancing. So this unit can fire at the infantry in blue, and this unit also can fire. I'm going to say it's half effect with the musketeers at the back, but they've moved into this position, so I'll just roll for that. So full effect, it's red. We'll do the damage. It's 4, so it does cause 4 casualties. But unfortunately this unit now also has run out of ammunition. And the second unit, which is half effect, so it also runs out of ammunition. But its effect, I'm saying it's half effect, so I'll say it's a 3. So that's 7 in terms of casualties. So we're on to turn 3. And it's not been going particularly well for the Parliament forces. However, they're still holding that position. So let's see what happens with turn 3, and let's start with a Royalist card. Okay, 5. So confusion there. So let's see how many Royalist units can't move. And that's 2. Now I've got 8 units here, so I'm going to say that I'm going to count the 3 infantry units which are near enough, 2 blue, 1 white, and then the 2 cavalry at the front there, and then finally I'm going to say the cannon, which is furthest away here. So I've rolled a 2 and a 6, so 2 is this infantry unit. I had 1 to 3, and this is the one in the middle, so that's a 2, and then 6 was going to be the cannon, so that's the cannon here. So what we've got is a bottleneck, and as the infantry at the front there can't move, we've got a bit of a stalemate in terms of that movement before they can get engaged in hand-to-hand fighting. So we're over with turn 3 to the Parliament and a 10. So 10 is positive in terms of initiative, but in addition, Parliament is also getting some reinforcements. Right, so a 10 means one unit can operate twice. So that's going to be this unit here. At the front, we're going to advance into contact. I'll see what this unit does behind it. This one is going to manoeuvre and retreat off the board. And also we've got 2 new units arriving for the Red Army. So we've got 1 infantry and 1 cavalry. So this is where this unit gets to. Over here, this unit has moved 6 inches and then turned. So it's now behind that infantry. And so here we're going to fight twice effectively. Now it's only the red unit which is making contact, so effectively it's 2d6 in terms of damage, and that blue unit has already taken 8 casualties. So the impact first time around is a 5, so that's going up to 13. So anything but a 1, this unit is removed, and it's a 3, and so it is. So that unit is removed at the end of turn 3. Right, we're over to turn 4, and we've got a Royalist card, and it's a 10, so that's initiative there, so a Royalist unit can do something twice. Now, a bit stuck here really. I've moved this cannon forward, but all the remaining units are really waiting to try and get through this gap. I could, because I've got, if you remember, 1 unit can operate twice, I could take this blue unit, it could go into contact and fight twice, similarly to the way the red one did, or I could fire twice with the white unit because it's still got ammunition. So those are my options. So rather than take a risk of losing ammunition with the white unit, I am going to attack here, and so it's effectively going to be 2 dice rolls in terms of attacking the red unit, which already has 7 casualties. So what's the impact there? 7, so that unit is up to 14. So we're over to a Parliament card. That's a 9. Now I think it might be demoralisation. Yes, it is. So a single unit takes 1 to 6 hits. Right, I've got 5 units on the table. 1, 2, a third here, and then I've got that cavalry and infantry that's come on the board. So we'll ignore the 6. 1. So it's this unit right in front, and we also know that it's taken 14, so therefore as a consequence it's a minimum of 1, so that will be removed. Okay, so now we've lost that unit. We've just got this one. This one, if you remember, had run out of ammunition. If you do remember, it actually only fired half effect as well, but it must have had very little ammunition, full stop. So all it's got to do is to advance into combat effectively. And perhaps the most sensible thing would be the most realistic might be the nearest unit. So I'll look at that in a second, but I'll just do other movement. So I've retreated a unit off the board there, and instead I've got cavalry that have moved 15 inches in total because they're on the road, and 6 inches for the infantry moving to block up this gap. This unit has now moved into combat, so let's roll for that. And that's 2 for casualties. So at the end of turn 4, we've got a large Royalist contingent looking to break through into this road. We've got the Parliament forces looking to reinforce this gap and hold them up, and yeah, it seems pretty even Steven so far. So let's have a look and see what card we draw for the Royalists. Okay, so Royalist card, and that's a 6. And a 6 is confusion. 1 to 3 units may not move. So realistically, I think the cannon can move, and the unit, the white unit there, could move into the flank of the Parliament force, and I think one of the cavalry units could move. So if I roll a 3, we'll say no movement. If I roll a 2, it'll be the infantry and the cannon. If I roll a 1, then it's just the cannon. So 2, so we'll say the cannon and the infantry can't move, but the cavalry can. Now, in terms of this action, I'm going to say that the pike are fighting against each other. So normally, if I'm looking at these rules here, I would normally be saying cavalry against infantry would normally be half effect, but it's a flank attack, so therefore we double its impact. And I really think that it's a bit hard to say whether, because obviously these units will be merged. So right, okay, I'm going to, rather than a double effect, what I'm going to say is effectively that the Royalists are, it's not double, but it's also not half, so it's a standard roll. On cavalry, it's 1d6 plus 2 for the Royalists, so that's what we're going to work out. So we've got infantry fighting each other, so we'll just roll for the blue unit first of all, and then the cavalry is 1d6 plus 2. Infantry first of all, 6, and this is the roll plus 2, so that's 3, so 9 in total. Parliament card, 3 is nothing. Right, I've moved the cavalry forward, and I could fire into this melee that's taking place. I think I would have to have split the casualties between both forces. I think I'm going to do that, and so it's 1d6, and I'll work from that. If I get an odd number, I can say it's a higher number of casualties to the Royalist cavalry. So red is the damage, blue is in case we run out of ammunition, which we don't, and it's a 5, so I'm going to split that and say it's 2 against the Parliament infantry, which I think takes it up to 14, and 3 against the Royalist cavalry. Actually, I'm wrong on that, it's up to 11, not 14. And casualties here, that's 4. And that unit is now up to 6 as we move to turn 6. Turn 6, start with Royalist card. That's not a good one. That's going to be confusion again. Now that would be 1 to 3 units not being able to move, but in the current circumstances I really think it's only that the cannon would have moved further forward, so I'm going to say that the Royalist force needs to be static, and we're going to go straight to melee. Now this is the action. Now this red unit is on 11. We're going to take obviously a minimum of 1 from each, the cavalry and from the infantry. But if we remember, the cavalry also gets a +2 with the Royalists, so it's going to be 4, so we're going to automatically remove this unit. Over to the Parliament. There is a gap now that's started. This is turn 6, they don't get any more forces until turn 9, so we've only got these 2 units to defend this area. Let's start with a card. So Parliament card. That's a jack, that's useful. That's an 11, so a unit can effectively do something twice. Right, well, if we're going to do something twice, then obviously the most sensible thing is to manoeuvre this unit up towards this gap. Okay, so I've moved this unit twice. It is now in a position that it can fire. Remember, the units can move and fire, so they will do so at the cavalry unit opposite, and I'll also fire at them with the Parliament cavalry. Start with the Parliament cavalry. Right, so that's 3 in terms of casualties, but they then run out of ammunition, so that means that will then give them an opportunity to move into combat. and that unit is up to 6. Now the infantry, that unit is now up to 10 in terms of casualties, and that unit, the infantry over here, does not run out of ammunition. So turn 7 to Royalist card. A 7, and a 7 means that a unit is struggling for ammunition. We go ammunition shortage, so 1 to 3 units may not fire in this turn. So I'm going to say there's only really one which could, which is the unit, the white unit in front. So instead, they're not going to do that, and we're just going to move without any shooting. Right, so I've moved troops forward, moved the cavalry into combat there. We'll do that in a second. And then moved other units further forward, but the problem absolutely is they aren't really getting very far forward. It's advancing relatively slowly, and I think the Parliament force are getting the upper hand, I think. So the only combat is here, so it's 1d6 plus 2, 8 casualties. So what have we got next with a Parliament card? We've got a 10, so again it's initiative twice for one of the units. So shooting comes before melee, so I'm going to say this unit is going to fire twice, just as long as it doesn't run out of ammunition. First shot, it does. So it runs out of ammunition, so it's 2 casualties. So instead, the actions I'm going to do twice is effectively the Parliament cavalry is going to hit this unit in front of it twice. Royalist is on 10, plus a 6, so that's knocked out. Turn 8. That's not a good card either. Okay, confusion. 1 to 3 units may not move. So how many cannot move? 3. Well, where that's relevant is the blue unit here, the white unit there, and cavalry behind it. So I'm going to say that more or less the Royalist force is static, and we'll see if we can do any shooting. This unit here, the white unit, can fire with half effect at the Parliament cavalry. Hopefully it doesn't run out of ammunition. It doesn't. It's only a 1, we'll count 1, so that unit goes up to 9. So over to Parliament. This time to get a poor card. Again, confusion. So 1 to 3 units can't move. How many? Well, there's only 2 units on the table. So I'm going to say that neither of those units can move, the cavalry or the infantry, and neither of them can fire because they've run out of ammunition. So that's the end of the turn. Turn 9. Good grief. So that effectively is going to mean the Royalists can't move again unless I roll a 1 or a 2. How many units can actually move? Right, okay, so it means there's only 1 unit which can't move. So let's see which one can't move. So we've got the blue infantry, the white infantry, and the cavalry behind it. So we'll say 1, 2 is the blue infantry. It's the blue infantry that can't move. So I've moved the Royalist cavalry, I've charged into contact. There's no other movement into combat, obviously, so let's just roll 1d6 plus 2. We've got here 2 plus 2, that's 4. That unit is on to 13. Parliament. 4, nothing happens. And as it's turn 9, we've now got the remainder of the Parliament force arriving here. So we've got 2 cavalry units and 3 infantry units at the start of the Parliament phase. I'm not going to advance with that red unit, and so the only thing that's going to happen is casualties from this melee. And that's 3. Right, so I must get a better card. Right, okay, we've got a queen. Okay, so we've got a bit of a rally. So of the units that have casualties, so there are 2, up to 2, sorry, it'll be up to those 2, and it'll be 1 to 3 hits saved. So if I don't roll a 1 and 2, which I haven't, it means both units can receive impact on their casualties. So the blue infantry gets 2, so this unit is down to 0 in terms of casualties. And 2 for the cavalry, which means it goes down to 1. So we've got contact here, and then the Parliament unit is on 13. The minimum that the Royalists are going to do is 3 for casualties, so that unit is removed. And here, casualties, 5. Okay. Parliament card, what have we got? Oh, King. Right, so that means we reduce casualties with 13. We have this one with any casualties. 1d3, so that's 2. So movement. Move the cavalry over on the right flank. 2 units moving into a holding position, and the third is advancing into this gap. So Parliament are closing the gap. However, I would say they're doing so with all that they have remaining. Fighting over here with 1d6. 5 casualties. U-turn. Royalist card. 9. I'm sure that's demoralisation. It is. Demoralisation. 1 unit takes 1 to 6 hits. It's the first 6 units. So I'm going to say 1 for the cannon, 2 for the blue unit, 3 for the white unit there, 4 for the one behind it, 5 for the cavalry, and 6 for that cannon. Number 1 is the initial cannon. Takes 2 casualties. The Royalist cavalry can stream forward. The first unit can go 15 inches because it's just been on the road. One behind it, or 2 units behind it, 12. We've advanced the infantry slightly. Cannons, however, still remain at the back, so there's no shooting. Instead, we move over to melee. Impact here is 4. It goes up to 7. Now we're to the Parliament card. Oh, just the same, demoralisation. We've got 6 units, so 1 here, and then 2, 3, 4 the infantry, then the 2 cavalry. 1 is the infantry that's fighting, plus this 3, so up to 10. So lots of Parliament movement. This unit is now moving into this position, possibly to replace this unit, this embattled unit. And then over on the other side we have the 2 infantry units remain where they are, but they can fire, and the 2 cavalry units have moved and they can also fire. So we've got a target in front, which is the 1st cavalry unit. That will be from the infantry, 1st infantry unit. Now it causes 2 casualties but runs out of ammunition. That causes 6, so we've got 8 in total, but again runs out of ammunition. This unit is up to 9 casualties. The infantry has run out of ammunition. We've got the 2 cavalry units to fire. First does so and just adds 3, so in total we've had 11 so far in the firing, but it already had 1 with its casualties, so it's up to 12. Cavalry unit runs out of ammunition and just adds 1 more. The only unit that can fire moving forward is this cavalry on the left hand side. Everything else is now out of ammunition. Fighting here, 6 casualties. The unit is up to 11. Royalist card, 2, nothing happens. Right, so right at the start this unit's flown into combat. We've then got advancing units all the way across with the cavalry. I have withdrawn the cavalry unit which had taken high casualties, so it can still be used in the next game. And then the infantry is moving, and for the first time we've got the cannon going towards the road. I think over here, so it's 1d6 plus 2. That's 7. And again over here, further 2. This unit is up to 12. Parliament card. And that's also a 2. Nothing. So I've moved the cavalry into the flank of the Royalists there. I've closed the gap. I'm moving this infantry here. I've also moved this other infantry behind it, and this one has just set itself up, conscious that this unit is well, to some extent on its last legs, but the one behind it will be in a good position to defend. Now, With this unit we roll 1d6, but with that one we roll 1 and then double it. First casualties, that's 5. So we've got 8 plus 5 is 13. The final action is over here with the Parliament unit against that blue Royalist unit. That's a 2, and that unit is up to 13. Okay, so new turn, what have we got? We've got a 3, so nothing is happening there. Next we need some movement. Okay, quite a lot of movement. So going from right to left, I have moved the infantry forward, not a great deal, but to move the musketeers on either side so they can fire, remembering of course that the Parliament infantry have run out of ammunition. I've moved the gun can't fire here, but could potentially do so in the next turn. I've withdrawn the cavalry, so the ones which hadn't actually fought have now moved into this field to get out of the way so that I could move this infantry further forward, withdrawn the other cavalry that won't engage again in this game, and moved the cannon forward. So quite a lot of movement. That just means we need melee with the cavalry and the infantry here, and I almost forgot, firing with the shots from this infantry unit here at the red ones there. Okay, so what have we got there? 5, and they don't run out of ammunition. Melee over here, 1d6 plus 2, so that's 4. And here 5. So with 5, that means this red unit is going to be removed. Start with a card. At a queen. So a 12 means that we rally. 1 to 3 of the units get 1 to 3 hits back. How many units? 2. There are only 2 units with casualties, so it's the infantry at first who have 5. So we remove 3, so that's down to 2. The cavalry unit we remove by 1. Movement, and I've moved this infantry unit out of the way from the white infantry unit, the Royalist unit, and maybe dragging that Royalist unit into action with 2 units there. Neither can fire, as you remember, but I'll see whether that happens or not. But other than that, we've got shooting first of all. So this unit here, this infantry unit, will fire at the blue Royalist unit, and then we've also got the fighting against the Royalist cavalry as well. Infantry firing. So it's 6 in terms of the casualties, and as a consequence this blue unit is removed. But that unit, just like all the other infantry, has now run out of ammunition. Over here we've got cavalry in the flank as well as engaged at the front, so I'm going to roll 1 dice, which will be for the first engagement, and then we get 2 dice, or a dice doubled I should say, for the ones in the flank. That's 5. So, and that's 8, so that's 13. So after the casualties in the first action, we also remove the Royalist cavalry unit. Okay, we're over to turn 14. There's an element of symmetry in the game because we've got 3 Parliament infantry and 2 cavalry on the table, and we had 1 off table, if you remember, at the start of this game, or earlier in this game. Over to the Royalists, we've got 2 cavalry, we've got 2 infantry, and there are 2 which didn't come on the table for this game. And then obviously we've got the 2 guns. It's unlikely, well, it's not even unlikely, the guns can't be taken off the table in this game, so therefore effectively it's going to be a Parliament victory. However, we've got another couple of turns to go, and it depends on what casualties are made, which means it'll influence the next game, the final game. So it could be that we've got 4 infantry and 2 cavalry on both sides, but Royalists will have the 2 guns too. And let's see what happens in the remainder of this game. So it's the Royalists to go first. And a Royalist card. So it's a 4, means there's no impact. So movement wise, I've moved both of the Royalist infantry forward. I'm going to fire at the cavalry over on the top right hand corner of your screen. It's the cavalry who were on 11 for casualties, and also they can still fire, they've still got their ammunition. All of the Parliament infantry have run out of ammunition, but this Royalist unit has just blocked off that gap. I'm moving the guns forward, so I don't want Parliament any chance of pinching the guns at the end of the game, and I've turned the cavalry round, which haven't really been that effective in that field. So the only thing we need to do in this remaining of this turn for the Royalists is fire at the cavalry. 5 and 6 and that unit is removed. It is a 6, and a 2 means that the unit runs out of ammunition, but importantly, certainly for the next game, the Parliament will only have 1 cavalry unit remaining. Okay, so we've got a Parliament card. There's a 2, so nothing happens. And movement wise, I've just withdrawn the cavalry and turned into a defensive position for the Parliament, and that's the end of turn 14, and effectively I think that's going to be the end of the game. So I don't need to play a turn 15 here. I can't get the cannons off the tabletop, and the Royalists will hold this advanced position. It means for the next game, for the final game, I will have 4 Royalist infantry and 2 cavalry and 2 cannon, and I will have 4 Parliament infantry, but just the 1 cavalry unit. Now, just a reminder that the purpose of the campaign is that the Royalist forces are looking to move those 2 cannon along the road over to the end here by the end of the 3rd action, so that they can use the guns further north in action in Lancashire. Parliament forces are looking to hold them back, so we've got 1 game to go for that. I'm going to set up and pick a new scenario, new 1-hour Wargames scenario, and obviously we'll be using this part of the table as our area to cover. So that's the end of this game. Altogether too sure whether I can say it's a Parliament victory or whether it's more of a draw, but I'll leave you to decide in that case, and I'll set up the 3rd game. Just to say thanks very much for watching. Thanks everybody in the 1-hour Wargames fan group for all the comments that you make, and everybody of course on the YouTube channel. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.